All right, so welcome. So what I want to show here is what I mean by different ways of knowing and showing. And I want to give credit to a member of class, GL, who came up and chatted with me about their research, their project idea for the semester, for their term project. So it's important to realize that you do have a lot of options and you do get some say in how you want your experience to go. Are you more for, well, let me go ahead and just do a paper and get it done with. I don't care about anything else. And that's okay. If that's what you would like to do, that's totally fine with me. But just for those who might have different interest, I want to show you some examples of what students have done in the past to kind of give you ideas at the least. So first up here is a student's project from the previous semester, and one of the things she had done readings, like you will do readings in this class. One of the things she did her readings, one of the things she found is that there's a lot of misconception around what people should do if someone has a seizure. And so that's valuable information, right? And so she discovered that from her readings. So she did readings around awareness about seizures. She spoke with the Student Accessibility Resource Center on campus, that is the old DSR. And again, to begin to see how there's a need for information about how to, what people should do when someone has a seizure. And her own eventual output was an informational output, but one that has application in her immediate community. And the reason she chose this is she had had a history of seizures. Okay, so again, when I ask what is meaningful to you, what is important to you, this is what I want you to. It doesn't need to certainly be like your personal health. It could be a cause you care about that affects any of the dimensions of wellness. And so that's what I mean. And not only, so this ended up being a poster. So that's an option in this class. You can write the traditional paper, which is fine, but you could also do a poster. So for example, this is something that this person cared about, and her the forum for her presentation was the GVSU Teach-In, which happens every fall. You could pick the Teach-In as well, but that's if that's not within this course, because it's in November, you can do a Student Scholars Day presentation. Okay, again, if that's what you want to do, please come and let us have a chat, and we can see how best to do that. Let's go on to another example that is not just informational, but essentially is a research project. It's also informational, but this is going out into the community, giving a survey, and finding associations between different dimensions of wellness and, say, another dimension. So this example, for example, here looks at mental wellness and how that is influenced by spiritual wellness or social wellness. And so I will put this up in a second. So again, this is an interesting work. The format is different. So this person used authentic data that was collected in this class. And I have a lot of this data where we administered a survey. Okay, so we administered a survey. There's IRB approval for the survey. It was sent across GVSU, and it asks about students' co-curricular and extracurricular activities. And so what we now did is, in that survey as well, there are measures of mental and emotional wellness. So PHQ-9 is a validated standard survey for assessing one's risks of depression, whether one is clinically depressed or not, or anxiety was measured with GAT-7, and so on and so forth. And there's one that talks about that assessed lifestyle practices, whether you exercise, whether you eat good food, and things like that. And so, using that, she picked a part of the survey that assessed people's disposition to religious activity. And so these are pictures of different things, some of them religious, some of them not. And then she actually took the data, analyzed the data, summarized the data as in these tables, and made conclusions from the data. Now, the question is, how is this related to the readings the person read? So in the papers the person picked prior, because she's looking at social activities social activities meaning things like being part of cultural organizations, like based on racial or ethnic identity, or membership of religious or spiritual organizations. She looked at whether people said yes or no, whether they did that, and how they ranked their pictures that depicted religious activities as a way to cope. And so she was able to find an association, analyze the data, all of that, and there's support for doing that through the Statistical and Computing Center on campus. It's free for every student. And so her papers, which is what I was saying, her papers that she would have read papers that talked about association between social connections and mental and emotional wellness, mental health outcomes. And so those are some of the terms that she would put in a literature search. Membership of a fraternity, membership of a identity-based group, how that affects social wellness in students. And so this is actually an authentic research project where she did the readings, she collected data, and she analyzed the data, and then she disseminated her findings at the context of the teach-in. So if that's something that interests you, we can chat about that. But the forum, so she would not have to write a paper anymore for her final term project. Instead, she's going to do a poster. But because you can't just do a poster to a class, that poster, in this case, was done at teach-in. Yours can be on Student Scholar Day. Okay. So again, that's another format for this kind of work. And there's more. This person's format, I'm not showing it here, I'm showing it, is different. The output of that work was actually a prototype of an app that she believes could help students use the rec center a little bit more. So I hope this gives you ideas, and I'll go back here to the first slide to say that your choices depend very much on you, what you want to get out of it. So for example, if your goal in this class is, I just want to get a C, I don't really care that much, and that's okay, no judgment. But a class like this allows you to get some things done that you can pivot to your own future goals. So for example, if you've never done research before and you're a senior and you want to do some independent research about something you care about, then that can be the focus of your term project. And again, my role is to support you to be able to get that done, to be able to maybe present your work at Student Scholar Day and hand that on your resume to say, I have done research, and yours might be different. Yours might be, I'm taking this particular med and I want to understand how the drug works and what are some of how does that affect my risk of certain adverse effects. And then that's a different need as well, because then the essential focus of that research is yourself. And so again, the conventions differ, but you will still disseminate that finding in one form or the other. Okay, I hope this helps, and go ahead and share with me your ideas so we can make the best possible experience out of this class. All right, thank you.